Can I survive 200 days in hardcore Minecraft? Before we started these next 100 days, our castle was nothing more than an empty fortress carved into the mountain. It looked impressive, but it didn't feel alive. That changes today. Over the next 100 days, we're transforming this lonely stronghold into a thriving kingdom by bringing villagers to their new home. Getting villagers to the castle won't be easy. We'll build them a custom village complete with a cozy home, a trading hall, and a large barn. We're also expanding our farms to produce more crops, raise more animals, and keep our growing population fed. Every project is a step toward turning this mountain fortress into something truly incredible. But in hardcore Minecraft, none of it is guaranteed. If you enjoy massive Minecraft builds, satisfying progress, and the constant tension of hardcore mode, be sure to subscribe and join the adventure. Now, let's see if we can survive another 100 days. Day 101 began exactly where the last episode ended. Before we could tackle any massive builds, we needed supplies, lots of them. That meant spending the day mining iron, gathering stacks of stone, and filling our inventory with cobblestone. It wasn't the most exciting job, but every great project starts with a mountain of resources. With our supplies growing, it was finally time to think about the next big goal. Back in the first 100 days, we discovered a spruce village not far from the castle. Before we could move a single villager, they needed somewhere to live. I picked out an open area just outside the castle walls and started shaping the landscape. Using stone bricks, I built retaining walls into the hillside, carving out a flat foundation that would eventually become the perfect location for our new villager house. It wasn't a huge build yet, but it was the first real step toward creating a thriving kingdom. With the groundwork finished and plenty of resources stocked up, Castle would be finally ready to welcome its first permanent residents. The only challenge left was getting them there alive. Day 102 started with something I'd been putting off for far too long, organizing my inventory. Ever since the castle began, a random double chest and a single chest had been sitting right next to the front door, collecting everything I couldn't be bothered to sort. It was finally time to clean them out and put every item where it belonged. The villager house was about to become our next big project. I wanted this house to match the style of the castle, using plenty of stone bricks alongside oak and spruce wood. The problem was, oak trees were surprisingly scarce around the castle. Most of the area was covered in spruce, and the few oak trees that were nearby helped give the landscape its natural look. I could have chopped them all down for building materials, but I wanted to preserve the original trees as part of the scenery. That meant I'd have to be a little more careful with my resources, balancing the look of the build with keeping the castle grounds feeling natural. Sometimes, planning the build is just as important as building it. All right, I think it's finally time to build the villager house. Hopefully this is the first step toward making the castle feel like a real, living kingdom. Let's get building.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
After finishing the foundation, it was finally time to bring the villager house to life. I went with a stone brick base to match the castle, then mixed in spruce and oak for a warm medieval look. A steep wooden roof, detailed chimney, and layered trim helped the house stand out while still fitting naturally inside the growing kingdom. It turned out to be the perfect first home for the villagers, and the first building that made the castle feel like a real community. With the villager house finally finished, I added a few last details, including some trapdoors and composters to make it feel a little more lived in. Now that our future villagers had a place to call home, it was time to move on to the next major project. Every castle needs towers, so for our next build, I decided to start work on the very first tower of the kingdom. As I was mining through one of the castle walls for the tower, I suddenly spotted a creeper wandering just outside. In hardcore Minecraft, that's not something you ignore, especially this close to the castle. I headed outside to deal with it, making sure not to rush the fight. By backing up whenever it started to explode, I forced it to lose its attack charge before moving back in. After a few careful hits, the creeper was gone, and I walked away without taking a single point of damage. Alright, this tower is definitely going to take a while, so it's time for another building montage. few days later, the tower was finally finished. Well, mostly. I built the entire thing out of stone bricks so it would blend seamlessly with the rest of the castle. Rising almost as high as the mountain itself, it really started to sell the idea that the fortress was carved right into the landscape instead of simply built on top of it. The only part I wasn't happy with was the roof. I wanted to give it a tall spruce roof with that classic medieval look, but building roofs has never been my strongest skill, especially when they're supposed to fit on a circular tower. I tried a few different designs, but none of them looked quite right. Rather than settle for something I didn't like, I decided to leave the roof for another day. Even without it, the tower completely changed the silhouette of the castle, and seeing it standing over the walls made all the time spent building feel worth it. Even though the roof still needs some work, getting this tower finished was a huge milestone. Up until now, the castle had mostly been walls and open space, but this was the first structure that really gave it some height and character. You can already imagine what the finished fortress is going to look like once more towers, walls, and buildings start filling in the empty areas. With the tower in a good spot, I decided to shift my focus to the front of the castle. Up until this point, the entrance looked pretty plain, and it was hard to tell where the fortress actually began and ended. I wanted to start defining the overall shape of the castle and give it a much stronger first impression. Using a mix of regular stone and stone bricks, I started laying out sections of the outer walls. As the castle continued to grow, one build started standing out for all the wrong reasons: the original entrance tower. It was one of the first things I built in this world, and at the time, cobblestone made perfect sense. But now, surrounded by stone bricks and more detailed builds, it just didn't fit the style of the castle anymore. So I decided to strip away the cobblestone and replace it with stone that better matched the newer sections of the fortress. As day 121 began, it was finally time to tackle the job I'd been putting off for as long as possible: moving villagers. I grabbed a few water buckets, plenty of beds, and several profession blocks before making my way back to the Spruce Village. Everything was ready. It was just a matter of getting them to the castle. And if you've ever moved villagers in Minecraft, you already know why I wasn't looking forward to this. They're easily one of the most frustrating mobs to work with. They wander off when you don't want them to, refuse to cooperate, and somehow always find the worst possible place to get stuck. No matter how much you prepare, moving villagers never seems to go according to plan. I honestly had no idea how long this was going to take. The plan was to guide them through the underground tunnel all the way back to the castle. But with villagers, nothing is ever guaranteed. So, instead of making you watch all of that in real time, here's a time lapse of the great villager migration. Before we continue, if I ever say, you know what sounds fun? Let's move villagers again, I need someone to reach through the screen and remind me how this went. Because transporting villagers has officially been added to my list of things I'd rather never do again, right next to digging out an entire mountain with a stone shovel. Thankfully, after what felt like an eternity, everyone finally made it to the castle in one piece. And almost immediately, I noticed something I'd never seen here before. A wandering trader had shown up. I don't know if it was just a coincidence or if having villagers living in the castle somehow encouraged him to stop by, but either way, it made the place feel even more alive. With the villagers settled in, I turned my attention back to the castle itself. The entrance to the underground tunnel had always been a little awkward, so I decided it was time to clean it up. I built a proper staircase leading down to the tunnel, giving it a much more natural and hidden entrance. While I was at it, I removed the trapdoors from the entryway, opening up the space and making the whole area feel cleaner and more connected to the rest of the castle. It's a small change, but those little details are what slowly turn a collection of builds into a place that feels like a real home. I built a proper staircase leading down to the tunnel, giving it a much more natural and hidden entrance. While I was at it, I removed the trapdoors from the entryway, opening up the space and making the whole area feel cleaner and more connected to the rest of the castle. It's a small change, but those little details are what slowly turn a collection of builds into a place that feels like a real home. With the new staircase in place, I decided the tunnel entrance deserved a bit more attention. The original floor didn't really match the rest of the castle anymore, so I tore it out and replaced it with stone bricks to blend seamlessly with the entryway above. It was a simple upgrade, but it made the transition from the castle into the tunnel feel much more intentional. I also added a fence across the entrance, not to keep the villagers in, but to keep a few uninvited friends out. Day 136 began with me looking up at the tower, and unfortunately my opinion hadn't changed. I still wasn't happy with the roof. Every time I looked at it, it felt like it was judging me for my complete lack of roof building skills. I thought about rebuilding it, then decided that sounded like a problem for future me. Future me can be very productive. Instead, I checked in on the villagers to make sure everyone was still safe. It would fit the castle perfectly and give me another excuse to spend hours placing fences. But one project at a time. As tempting as it was to start another massive build before finishing the current one, which, if we're being honest, is a talent of mine, I pulled myself together and headed back to the front of the castle. The exterior walls still needed a lot of work, and if I kept starting new projects every time I had an idea, this series would turn into 200 days of almost finishing things. So, back to the stone bricks I went, continuing to shape the front walls and slowly giving the castle the grand entrance it deserved. So, remember when I said I was going to finish the front walls? Yeah, about that? I've come to accept that I have absolutely no self-control when it comes to building in Minecraft. I'll be halfway through one project, get a new idea, and suddenly I'm convincing myself it's somehow more important than the thing I was already working on. It's a miracle anything ever gets finished around here. The more I walked around the castle, the more one thing kept bothering me. The inside just felt uneven. One side had the feast hall and the beginning of the library that I've barely touched since building it. The other side was mostly empty, and every time I looked across the courtyard, it felt completely out of balance. So naturally, I started another major project. The plan was to expand the opposite side of the storage hall, so it mirrored the other half of the castle. Not only would it make everything feel more symmetrical, but it would also give me plenty of room for future rooms and expansions. There was just one tiny problem: the mountain. And since I'm pretty sure none of you clicked on this video hoping to watch me spend the next hour mining thousands of blocks, I'm going to save you from that experience. So, here's another mining montage. Oh, and if you want, we can talk about that Enderman later. Well, one project done inside the castle. If I want to get done with all I have planned for this 200 days video, I'd better start on the villager hall. Day 145 and day 146 I took care of some chores that needed done and gathered all the materials I was going to need for the village hall. This one is going to take a while, since this will be my largest project built at a dingle time so far. Most of days 147 and 148 weren't spent building at all. Before I could start the next major project, I needed to stock up on supplies. That meant gathering building materials, harvesting food to keep everyone fed, and checking in on the villagers to make sure they were safe and still happily settling into their new home. The next build on the list was the villager trading hall, and I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed before placing the first block. I've learned the hard way that nothing kills building momentum faster than running out of stone or realizing you're missing one random stack of logs halfway through. With the materials collected and the villagers taken care of, it was finally time to get started. Cue the building montage. This project is taking way longer than I was anticipating. I am going to take a break from this project to work on some other things. I planned on going to the Nether during this 200 days video, but I don't think I am going to make it. I still need to build the Nether room, and I want to expand the farm and build a barn. I will most likely finish this project after I finish the 200 days. I have a feeling that if I continue to work on the villager hall, I won't be able to finish the rest of my plans for this 200 days. Well, back to the video. Day 174, I took care of an uninvited guest in the castle, and days 175 and 176, I started on the Nether portal room on the newly constructed wing of the castle. On day 177, I grabbed all the dirt blocks from the inventory room and headed outside to start working on the farm. I chose the area next to the castle that I had been growing some of the trees in for the villager trading hall. Like I had said before, I want to build many different fields with wheat and potatoes. I am going to shift to another building montage, but you are going to notice that I get a carrot randomly. I had some footage get corrupted, but I had a zombie drop one over in the field. Well, I really like how the farm turned out. I am still trying to decide how larger I want to make it, but this is a good start. Well, we have 4 days left in this 100 days, so let's finish working on the portal room and finish this video out right. Well, everyone, that's another 100 days of hardcore Minecraft in the books. I have really enjoyed spending time with you all today. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure and hit that subscribe button below. It really helps me out and lets me know that you are all enjoying this series as well. As you can see, I finished the Villager Hall after completing the 200 days video. I really like how it came out in the end. With all that being said, I am going to change the format of this series to build-based, instead of 100 days straight at a time. I think that will help me organize my builds better, so I am not all over the place like I was during this last 100 days video. I will keep the day counter going so you guys know where I am. So until next time, thank you all again. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon. God bless you or your families.